not seeing your story. See, we, the church, must not get so routinized in our method of praise that we become laid back in our praise. See, some folks have gotten so laid back that they are waiting for the move of God instead of provoking and invoking the presence of God. See, they are waiting for God to move instead of praying that he would show up. See, I'd rather have him show up than to have him move. Why? Because things happen when he shows up. When he shows up, then that means he can be with me. See, I can do more when he's with me than I can by myself. The reason why I know, because somebody in here knows that when the Lord has shown up in your past, he became the way for your mistakes. Am I right about it? Some of us have been to the university of adversity, and we learned from the school of hard knocks that if God is all we have, then God is all we need. God has a way of showing up when everybody else walks away. We serve a God that will step in. And one thing I like about God is when God steps in, he's always, somebody knows, he's always on time. So I found out. Aren't you glad that he's with you? People are too relaxed in their praise because they feel that now that they have arrived, that gives them a right to praise. That gives him a right to be able to sit down on their praise. Now, Bishop, I don't know, I haven't talked to you, but I can imagine that somebody in here right now that they have arrived at the new edifice, they may feel that they don't need to give God praise. But I came by to let you know that's even a greater reason to give God praise. When you know what the Lord has done for you, you don't get a pass on your praise. You don't get a pass on your praise because you're a deacon. You don't get a pass on your praise because you're a bishop. You don't get a pass on your praise because you're a leader. In fact, you want to give God more praise because it was God that promoted you. It was God that woke you up this morning, and he's worthy of all of our praise. Too many folk are caught up in being churchy without understanding the awesomeness of the God of the church. They think it's all about the church. In other words, they are just like the man who had cut his wrist while he was doing some yard work. He cut his wrist, and his wrist was bleeding profusely, and he wrapped it up and drove himself to the hospital. He says, if I can just make it to the hospital, I'll be all right. So he was speeding down the highway, driving in and out of traffic. If I can just make it to the hospital, I'll be all right. So when he got to the hospital, he sat down and said, I made it. And when he sat down, he died. Because see, he found out that he didn't have to get to the hospital. He didn't have to see the hospital. He needed to see the doctor that was in the hospital. I came to tell people today, folks say, baby, just go to church. If you can make it to the church, you will be all right. No, baby, you don't need to go and just make it to the church, but you got to know the God of the church. Because if you know, I wish I had. So a lot of folk, I'm almost through, but a lot of folk, they don't have a clue of the awesomeness of God. They've heard about him, but they don't know how awesome he really is. We serve a God that's awesome. Stood on the invisible, reached into the intangible, poured out the impossible, and turned it into the incredible. We serve a God that's awesome. They think that it's all about 23rd Street. That's not it, baby. They think if I sing in the choir, then I've had church. If I give some money, then I supported the church. If I do a service, then I'll help the church. But they call that having church. But let me, if you will, define using systematic theological definitions. Let me, if you will, define the theological term of church. Can I have 5 minutes? Church comes from the Greek word ecclesia, which means to call out or to summons. It literally means called out. If the word is to be translated on the basis of etymology, then that means that we have been called together as an assembly to display the awesomeness and the power of Almighty God. What are you saying to me, Bishop? Well, in other words, when two or three, that's why Jesus said, when two or three have come together in my name. See, it doesn't take hundreds of people. It doesn't take a coliseum full of folk. But all it takes is two or three. Because if you come to church and your heart is right and my heart is right, when we come together and we touch and agree, we have the power to run the devil out of the church. I wish I had some help in here. The Bible says one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000. Based on that equation, three can put 100,000 and four can put 1,000,000 demons. I came to tell somebody it's time to put demons to flight. Power. We worship at the temple. But we've got to become the temple. We are not a religious organization, but we are a living organism. We are not confined and defined by geographical, demographical, topological boundaries. Paul said it best. He says, know ye not that ye are the temple of Almighty God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. I feel like preaching now. I heard Paul says over in the book of Romans, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. I came to tell the church today that it's time to stop having church and start being the church, what God has called us to be. When I look at my text, can I preach like I want? When I look at my text in Revelations, I see four things that Jesus addressed. He addressed number one, the commendation. Number two, he addressed the complaints. Number three, he addressed the counsel. Then number four, he addressed celebration. What are you saying to me, Bishop? The commendation was the fact that the church was a working church. It worked, but it didn't do what the Lord said to do. He said we are to have love. I feel my help coming there. We are to have love in the church. You got to shout right. You got to praise right. But you need to have more love. Can I preach like I want to? Not years ago, Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? I came to tell her, but I heard her say, it's nothing but a secondary emotion. I don't know what Tina Turner was talking about, but I know love has everything to do with the church. You gotta have love. Show love, because the Lord is love. It was love that woke me up early this morning. It was love that made Jesus come down through 42 generations. It was love that made him stay still when they pulled the beard from his head. It was love that made him lie down in the grave all night long. Friday, Saturday. Wait a minute. It was love that made him get up from the grave. All power in his hand. Say yeah. Say yeah. Anybody here? Do you have love? Anybody here? Can you have love? Outside your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time to love. Neighbor, whatever you go through,